Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about the Octominer loaded with Gigabyte Turbos, 3080s, 12 of these guys, talking about the spacing, also if it's better than a Gigabyte 3 fan. We have a lot more space now between each GPU, so we'll see how that impacts the performance of these cards, the heat on the VRAM and the heat on the core. So if you think that's interesting, hit like, subscribe, hit the bell, go to cryptollc.org. If you're looking for someone to help you set up a ASIC or GPU mining farm, we do that for our clients, from various clients from all over the world. So if you're interested in that, go to cryptollc.org. Also, if you want to buy yourself some GPUs, best time to buy is right now. You see our farm here. This is one of our farms. We have more than one of these. We can set up something like that for you, either with Octominers or with the regular open fan or open air setup. So, before we get started, Bitcoin saves your wealth and Jesus Christ saves your soul. So make sure you have both those in your life. All right, let's get started. We got our Octominer here. This is the 12 GPU. If you watch our previous videos, you know we're talking about the 3 fan gigabytes. We ran those. Those were not running that great, and the reason for that is we think it's because of the spacing. Keep watching this video, because at the end, or close to the end, I will have some results for the spacing. Show you guys if any of these cards are performing better than when they were in open air. So make sure you guys stick around. But right now, we're going to be looking at the cards themselves and the space. So on the Gigabyte 3 fan, I couldn't even stick a finger between the cards. That's probably like half of my finger went between the cards. These Gigabyte Turbos, I can put my whole finger in there and there's still some space left over. So it's basically like 3 times more space between each card. So that's going to allow our airflow here, coming off of our 5 fans, it's going to allow that airflow to travel between these cards and to escape in the exhaust. Also, these Gigabyte Turbos, they're built in a way where the air actually comes out the back. So it circulates, it's basically, that's why it's called a turbo. It circulates that one fan that acts like a turbo and pushes the air through the card, not outside the card, but through the card, and then comes out the back. So not only are these fans going to be hitting the card itself, but the card's airflow is actually inside. It's inside of it, not pushed out of the card. So we'll see how that performs. But these cards, the airflow will be hitting the back of the back plate here. Also the front of the card. These cards are also like metal, and not like, maybe it's hard plastic, maybe it is, but it does feel like metal. So that should also help that the metal will itself be cooled off with the fans and blow all that hot air out back. But the most important thing, like I said, is the space. We'll see how that space helps or not. This is the same setup as our previous video, Gigabyte 3 fan, meaning that it has the same power supplies, same motherboard, same setup of everything. So it's basically an identical Octominer. This is the 4200 watt setup with standard 8 gig RAM, standard processor. You know, everything's basically the same. I'm gonna go to the other side. So you can see here, it's from Miner Dude, 12X stream. These are our test rigs we're doing right now. So what we're trying to do is figure out what GPUs are going to be the best for the Octominer 12 Extreme. That's what we're trying to figure out. So the Gigabyte 3 fans, they're okay, they're not bad, but they are better in open air. So if you have Gigabyte 3 fans, 3080s, they're actually worse if you put them in an Octominer. They're better to be open in the air than an Octominer. We already confirmed that in our previous video. So today's video is going to be confirming, is the turbo better or worse inside the Octominer? And I think it's going to be better because of that spacing and because of how the turbo is built. So I'm going to assemble the rest of it, put on the lid, show you guys another brief video, and then after that I'm going to turn it on, run it for like an hour, and then record at that point and show you guys if it's actually better or worse. So stay tuned. So we got the lid on. It's powered on right now, working at 100% hash rate. Using all the watts there for 3080s. It's around 240 watts on these turbos. Getting a good nice airflow from the back. I can feel the hot air coming out of those turbos right here. And then the two sides are blowing out a little cooler air but still it's good, nice airflow here coming out. So we're gonna let this run for some time, like an hour. Make sure they stabilize, get nice good results. So here's our lid. And the lid works really nicely to keep the air compact, make sure that the air is flowing between the GPUs and not just blowing out, you know, the side here. That it's actually flowing between the GPUs. Fan speeds are also good, and they're all working great. So far so good. It's a temporary setup. It's just gonna lay here for a little bit. You know, I pulled the Ethernet off of one of the other rigs, and this is just temporary wires. We'll see how it goes, and then after that, we're gonna find a permanent location for this guy. But as of right now, this is our little test unit here. See how it goes. All right, we have our turbo cards here loaded up. It's pretty cool outside. It's about 65 degrees. So we're taking a look at our results. All our cards are set at the required power on the core, which is 1100. Memory overclock is 2200. I'm at home right now looking at this remotely. So all our Gigabyte Turbos, basically some are running at 100% speeds and some are not. We can tell by the mega hashes here. If it's close to 99, then we are at that 100% load. This card is actually doing a good job. It has 96 on the memory, 45 on the core, and does 99. So this card is great. It's doing a good job. Also, before we continue, all 5 fans on Octominer are set to 100% manual speed. So basically we're running this thing at 100% speed on the fans. Now we'll take a look at these cards. See, this one's downclocked. It's downclocked because at 104 it'll downclock the core. So even though it says 1100, it's actually going down. So we already chopped off 20% of the speed. It's supposed to be at 99 and it's at 81. Same thing with this one, it's at 76. So we're chopping off speeds there. Here we're at 98 because the core is good. I mean the VRAM is good. VRAM is good. These are great cards right here. 96, 96, 82, 96. And so on. So those are all good. Then we get down here, this one's basically right on the thread line here because it's at 104.99. So this one's fine, but if it gets warm outside, it won't be fine, or warmer. This one right here has been chopped down almost 30%. This one's down 20%. So these cards, as they are right now, put into an Octominer, they are not performing at 100% speeds, right? They're supposed to be all at 99. They're not. Some of them are, some of them are not. What does that mean? That means that these cards, these ones especially over here, these ones need to have their VRAMs fixed. You have to take apart the card, replace the VRAMs with better pads. You can take a look at the core. We have 51, 43, 39, 45, 49, 52. So the core is fine. The core is not overheating. The problem is the VRAM. The VRAM is overheating. 104, 104, 102, 104, 104 up there. So that's the problem. The problem is VRAM. So how do you fix that? Like I said, you have to take apart the card, take out the VRAM and fix it, which we will do that. So we do that on our cards. But I want to show you guys that if you buy Gigabyte Turbos and you put them into an Octominer, 3080s, these are 3080s. Of course, if you buy 3070 Gigabyte Turbos, you're probably not going to have any problems. But if you're going to be using a 3080, these cards will overheat. And you have to change the thermal pads. You have to take apart every single card and change it. So why is that important? It's important because if you are building a farm like this with Octominers, do not buy Gigabyte 3080 turbos. Do not buy those. It's better to just buy the Gigabyte 3 fans rather than the turbos. The turbos actually perform worse. And I don't think it's because the turbo design is bad. I think what's going on is that they're cooling off. The plate on the VRAMs, the copper plate that they put there, is probably cheaper or not made the best way, or the fan's not directly over them, or whatever it is, and they're just overheating the VRAMs. So as it is right now, I would not recommend to get Gigabyte 3080 turbos for Octominer unless you want to take them all apart, which of course no one wants to. That's a waste of time. Just buy yourself a different card.